Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
I'm saying it on national television. Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
It is official. His first playoff appearance. And the brother's a number one option, averaging over 28, dropped 40 in a triple-double in the first game of the conference finals. And just the way he plays, he's an assassin.
So, PJ, I'm coming to you on the tape in just a minute to show folks if they haven't seen a lot of him. But Perk, as a player, I just want your initial reaction. I'm looking at your face. When he says that, what do you want to say back?
Well, first of all, look, I love Stephen A. Smith, but he shouldn't have said that on live television. That was one of those thoughts he should have kept to himself, okay? Because he's not the next Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was a first-team all-defensive player 9 times, okay? Devin Booker is not strapping like that. But what I will say, Greeny, is that Devin Booker is the third best scorer in the NBA behind Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. And when you look at D-Book and the way that he's able to get buckets, he does it at a high rate. He has 0 flaws offensively. He can stretch you out from the three-point line. He does a great job of getting out in transition. He has a post-up game. He has a mid-range game. But most importantly, you know what he does well, Greeny and PJ? He's efficient. At the shooting guard position, he shoots almost 50% from the field. That's how I look at Devin Booker.
So for PJ, for a lot of people who probably had not seen a ton of him in the early part of his career, he's a guy who didn't even start at Kentucky. Show us some film. What are we looking at in Devin Booker?
Well, you're looking at a complete player with one big missing piece, and Perk kind of alluded to it, and defense is not his forte right now. So very unlike Steven to make a big statement like that. But if you watch Book, 40 points, there's the assist. He penetrates. He makes great decisions right there. This deuce right here is part of 40. It ended a 16-0 run by Devin, 16 straight. He rebounds well. There he brings the ball up the floor, knocks down a 3. They cut it to 2 late in the game. On the out-of-bounds play, there's the biggest basket of the game. He finishes right now. He's playing so much better even than he played in the regular season. He's from 4 up to 7 rebounds. His assists are up. His three-point percentage is up. He's got to be a better defender for sure. I don't ever put on anybody you're going to be the next Kobe Bryant. Book's played 11 playoff games, but he's really special.
Yeah, there was a relationship there. Kobe was a mentor to Devin Booker as he was to a lot of young players in the league. A connection is one thing, a comparison is another. Either way, we'll leave it there, guys. We'll come back with more a little bit later. Big Perk, I'm coming back to you, I promise, a little bit later in the story of the week in the NBA. The future of Ben Simmons in Philadelphia very much in doubt after his team crashed out of the playoffs on Sunday night. Yesterday, Coach Doc Rivers addressed what the team and Simmons need to do heading into this offseason. Take a listen.
I believe, without going in detail what we're doing, I believe we know what the right work is and the right type of work and the right way to do it. After being here for a year, I really do believe we've identified what and how, and now we have to do the do part. We have to work to do it. It's not going to be an easy job, but it's definitely a job that Ben can do.
So, as I bring Big Perk and PJ into the conversation, PJ, right when we launched this show, so 3 years ago and change, Jalen Rose came on the air and said he thinks Ben Simmons is shooting with the wrong hand. If you sort of listen between the lines to the things that Doc is saying there yesterday, it could be that we're leading in that direction. When you hear him say, we know what to do, it's just a question of doing it, how do you interpret that?
Well, I just think because it's such a dramatic change. You're talking somebody that's had great success in the league. I mean, a 3-time All-Star, an All-NBA player. He led the league in steals. You're not talking somebody that was just a bust from day one. He's played very, very well at times. And to see him go from that to the way he played, particularly in the playoffs this year, it's a little scary. And they have so much money invested in him, they know that this is a big move, and a lot of it is going to be, I think, dealing with his confidence and dealing with his head, and that's uncharted territory. So I just think he knows how big the job is going to be, but I think he also knows it's possible.
When you consider the psychological piece of it, Big Perk, and we understand that Philadelphia is a passionate town and can sometimes be a very tough place, do you believe Ben Simmons can get it back together again in Philly?
Well, Greeny, I don't. And here's why, right? We all asking Ben Simmons to become a shooter and be someone that he's not. And at the end of the day, it's okay to be who you are. And Ben Simmons is not a guy that's going to space the floor. If I'm looking at Ben Simmons and I'm a general manager, I'm moving him to the dual forward position like a Sabonis, letting him initiate the offense, let him dive to the basket, let him be a third option guy where he's able to give you that 17, 7, and 7 a night. Because we all know he led the league this year in assisted three-pointers. We know that he's a guy that's not going to pull up for a jumper. So if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, you know what's the right place for Ben Simmons? I'm going to trade him for D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley, and I'm going to move him over there, send him to Minnesota, where he could be around a guy like Karl Anthony Towns that loves to stretch the floor and float around.
Who will be the Dolphins quarterback week 17 of this coming season?
Yeah, this is especially loaded because obviously it entails what happens with Tua and whether he is able to step up and prove to the organization that he is in fact their franchise guy. The reason I add that loaded aspect is that we're also talking about Deshaun Watson. What happens to his future? What happens to his career? And does he possibly end up in Miami as well? This is a two-pronged loaded question with a lot of tentacles. I'm just curious. I know it's loaded, but I'm throwing it out there.
Well, that's the whole idea of the conceit here. Damian Woody, your loaded question. Can the Chargers make noise in the AFC?
Absolutely. We don't give the Chargers enough love on the show, Greeny. Listen, Justin Herbert, the offensive rookie of the year, was just spectacular. And we know on the defensive side of football, they're going to get Derwin James back. Man, watch out for them Chargers this year.
Absolutely. They also completely remade their offensive line and had a great draft. I'm completely with you on that. Mike T, what is the Packers? Here's your loaded question. What is the Packers' winning answer at quarterback if it isn't Aaron Rodgers?
Greeny, when we traded for Brett Favre a decade ago at the Jets, they were very and accurately confident in their succession plan that they could go win with Aaron Rodgers. They don't have that answer on campus if Aaron Rodgers isn't there this year. Well, that is an interesting perspective, and it also feels to me like a problem. And Jeff Darlington, you're shaking your head, and I think I know why. Go ahead.
A problem. If Jordan Love is not the answer this season, everybody should be fired. The whole deal. Like everybody, even the fans. Like it doesn't, that's not true. He's a first-round pick. When do we ever have that much patience for a quarterback picked in the first round? And Hembo sent me this stat. I always love when he just tries to stir the pot. He sends me this stat about a misconception about Jordan Love and his inexperience. He's not inexperienced at all. He started 32 games in college. That's more than Mahomes, Burrow, Tua, Tannehill, Kyler. Like, if Jordan Love isn't ready right now after a rookie season to be able to sit back and watch, he's a first-round pick. Literally, that is an abomination. That is awful by the front office. If he's not ready right now.
I have to admit I agree with that. And before I get to D. Wood, Mike T., I just want your reaction to that as one who, you know, you've defended the pick to some degree, and we understand that there is a succession plan in place. But if he's not ready right now, isn't that a problem?
Yes and no, and here's why. Last year, because of the pandemic, all the reps for most of the quarterbacks had to go to the starters, so no preseason games, very few reps at practice. The problem for Green Bay is this. They need more time to develop Jordan Love, and if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play and Jordan Love just needs more time, they are in trouble because, again, Favre to Rodgers work, Rodgers to Bortles, Rodgers to Jordan Love, who's not ready, is hugely consequential for the Packer front office.
So let's see. I see it the way Jeff sees it. D. Wood, what do you think of it?
Well, Greeny, I'm taking the approach from the veteran perspective. Now, remember, this team that went to back-to-back NFC championship games, and if we're talking about Jordan Love not being ready, as a veteran, I want my guy. I want my guy Aaron Rodgers back in the mix. I don't have time to be waiting on this, this young quarterback to see if he's ready or not. So, to me, like as a veteran, you have all offseason to kind of deal with those type of things as far as Aaron Rodgers and the organization. But when we get to training camp, man, it's time to roll. So I want to see what these veterans on this team, how they're going to react if Aaron Rodgers doesn't show up to training camp.
So you're suggesting that you think some of the goodwill, and again, there are obviously close relationships there. You're saying, Aaron, if he's not there when it really matters.
Yeah, because listen, most veterans are like, listen, handle your business in the offseason. We got your back. But when it's time to play ball, man, you want all your guys to show up. So that's what I'm interested in. I want to see what these veterans what their reaction is going to be. Again, granted, this is a team that went to back-to-back NFC championship games.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly right. Look, at the end of the day, for all the conversation that has taken place, he hasn't really missed anything that mattered yet. There was one thing that was mandatory, but nothing that really mattered. All could be just fine in just a few weeks. Let's see if it goes that way. In the meantime, we'll take a short time out. We have a lot more to do. The quarterback carousel in the